J-Town, and welcome to episode 5 of Judson Now. I'm your host, Margie Gunner.
And I'm your co-host, Heather Waterhouse. If you're a student here on campus, you know of Chef Robert Botello as the happy, enthusiastic guy that cooks all of our meals here. Robert joined the Judson community recently.
We here at Judson Now thought it was time to get to know him a little better. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Robert recently for a chat. Let's go see what he's got cooking in the dining hall now.
Now, tell us a little bit, take us back, tell us about your background. Where were you born?
Well, I was born in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
I was born on the Air Force Base. My father was in the Air Force, he was in the military. And we lived in California until I was 6 months old, I'd say, and then we flew to Spain. And so I lived in Spain until I was 3. So I grew up, my mom's from Mexico, my dad's family is from Colorado, but they're of Mexican origin as well. So I'm 100% Mexican, but then we lived in Spain, and when we came back, when I was 3 years old, I was only speaking Spanish, which was helpful, except for not helpful in the States.
Right.
Helpful in the long run. So I was able to retain the Spanish throughout the years. We went back to California for a while, grew up in Colorado, in the mountains after my dad's retirement, and did all my high school and some college out there. And then just kind of worked in Denver, happened kind of scene, and then felt really led to come down here to Alabama. And so here I am. Been here for about 5 years now.
What was your first experience with cooking, and what was your first interest in cooking?
Well, my first experience with cooking, I'd say it was my mom. My mom cooked from scratch all the time, just at home. We had dinner every night, 5 o'clock every night after she got home, which looking back is incredible because I'm not able to do that. So I mean, working families, it's amazing. We had the 2-parent household, and she worked and then came home and was still able to get dinner out there. And I would spend a lot of my time with her, just in the kitchen, cooking, working. And she would teach me. She would just teach me by taste. She would, have me taste rice that we would make and say, she would tell me, hey, what is it missing? No idea. And she'd say, well, let me tell you, it's missing salt or it's missing garlic. And so then we would add the ingredient and then taste it again, and she'd say, do you see the difference? And I was like, yeah, I could. So I spent years doing that, so probably seriously when I was 10 or 12, I started really more seriously cooking at the house with her. And it's interesting because I love to cook, but I did not ever cook for my family because my mom did it. So I didn't cook a meal for my family until I was probably 20, 21 years old, moved out on my own, living in my own place, had some people over, finally cooked for people. But I learned how to cook, Mexican food, Spanish food, American. My dad grew up on a farm, so very country, fried chicken, meatloaf, mashed potatoes. I love food, so I love food and I love people, and then food service is where I'm supposed to be.
Judson students are in college, and this phase of our lives. Tell us a little bit about what you were going through between the years of 18 and 22.
I was a mess. 18 to 22 was a rough period.
I think it is for all of us.
If I'm gonna be real, let's be real. It was a mess, and I think part of what made it a mess was I wasn't able to acknowledge that I was going through hard times, and I was trying to keep up a persona that I was doing well. And trying to kind of keep a guard up. It was not a pretty season, but it was a really necessary season of my life to honestly come to know the Lord, because if I had not, that was during the season of life where I got to my worst, got to the bottom, and that way I know that if I didn't have that, then when God reached out to me, I would not have been in a place to reach back to Him. So I look back at it as invaluable years of my life, but I can't even say that I wouldn't wish it on people. I just know that sometimes we have to get to the end of ourselves until we can really, face ourselves.
What are some things you like about working at Judson, and then what is the best part of your job?
My favorite part is there's these kind of ridiculous events that are so fun that it's like every month we plan for some sort of big thing.
Right.
And so I spend some of my typical days kind of thinking ahead and saying, hey, what do I have coming down the line? Do I've got a presentation on Latin root vegetables? Do I have a napkin folding? And so if that's the case, really considering what's in my heart, what could we do? What are the possibilities? Dream big. Could I get Judson China as a prize? Who do I talk to? Who do I email? Who do I schedule? The group of people that we serve, both the students, especially the students, but the faculty and staff as well, everybody that we serve is really grateful, is really appreciative of of the service that we give them. I think some of my favorite part is engaging with the students that come and just, asking them how the basketball game went, or how's their recital coming along, how's their pigs or the goats at home doing, So just kind of like asking and getting involved in the life here, going to see the basketball game for a few seconds and just kind of be involved, coming back to see the pageant that you guys did at the beginning of the year. So it's kind of like being a part. I know that I can be here beyond just in the dining hall for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but that I'm here for a season and for a time to kind of be a part of this Judson family. We're all in this sort of together, and we have our ups and downs together, but there really is kind of a shared suffering of like finals and long days, and it's all together, and so there's a nice community about it, which I really appreciate.
If students want to succeed both now and in the future, give us some of your keys to success.
Oh, man. I think the biggest thing I would say is just to love the people. That's how I feel about this, is like loving the people, no matter what I do, whether that is, and I would say that for everybody, is like to really have an inborn, a real deep respect and love for all people. And everyone says this, but if you know that that goes against your moral compass, it's okay to stand against that, and that is part of that success. I mean, success can't be measured in a worldly sense. Having that success, for me, is like having that success in the Lord is God proud of me and what I've done, how I stood for what I really believe in, for my faith. And if that is the case, it doesn't matter how much or little I make income-wise. It doesn't matter how nice my house is or isn't, or married or not, kids or not. Like, those things aren't going to measure my success. And if I use that as kind of a ruler or some sort of yardstick for my measurement of success, I'll always come up short. Everybody will come up short if that's what we're measuring against, versus our own individual, who we've been called to be. Like, instead of how am I compared to somebody else, it's how am I compared to the potential that is born in me.
We hope you've enjoyed the first part of our interview with Chef Botello.
To hear the second half of the interview, tune in to our next episode. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button now if you haven't yet.
Also, feel free to send your comments, questions, and suggestions, as always, to judsoncollegenow@gmail.com. And thanks for watching. I'm Margie Gunner.
And I'm Heather Waterhouse.
And you're watching Judson Now.